They say you can feel it when your soulmate dies. A tearing sensation, like someone ripped your heart straight out of your chest while you're still breathing. Aston Ravencross felt something worse. He felt Levi choose to leave him. The soul bond didn't snap, it didn't tear, it withdrew. Slowly, deliberately, like Levi was pulling away one thread at a time. And that was so much worse than death, because it meant Levi was conscious. It meant this was a choice. Aston's knees hit the floor of his study. The wine glass slipped from his fingers, shattering across marble. Red liquids spread like blood. Levi! His voice came out strangled. He pressed both palms flat against his chest, fingers clawing at the fabric of his shirt. Levi, what are you doing? Levi, please! The bond pulled thinner, fainter. Like Levi was walking away from him down a long corridor, and no matter how loud Aston screamed, he couldn't make him turn around. 5 years. 5 years they'd shared this bond. 5 years of feeling each other's joy, pain, fear, love. 5 years of never being truly alone because they carried each other inside their souls. And now Levi was severing it. Aston's magic erupted outward in pure panic. White flames consumed every candle in the room. Books flew off shelves and slammed against walls. The windows exploded outward in a shower of glass. Power crackled across his skin like lightning, wild and uncontrolled. Levi! The bond pulled thinner. Thinner. Almost gone. Then it stopped, held by a single thread. And through that thread, Aston felt something that made his blood run cold. Terror, pain. And underneath it all, guilt so crushing it felt like drowning. North, the bond whispered. He's north. Aston didn't think, didn't plan, didn't even grab his coat. He ran. The rain came down in sheets, turning the cobblestone streets into rivers. Aston sprinted through the abandoned ruins district, his white shirt plastered to his skin, his dark hair dripping water into his eyes. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the skeletal remains of buildings destroyed in the Shadow Wars 20 years ago. Most people avoided this place. They said ghosts walked here, that the shadows themselves were hungry. Tonight, Aston didn't care if he ran straight into hell itself. The bond pulled him toward the Cathedral of St. Maurice, a massive Gothic structure that had once been the most beautiful building in Ashcroft. Now it was a corpse of broken stone and shattered stained glass. Its bell tower collapsed, its doors hanging off rusted hinges. Aston slammed through those doors hard enough to tear one completely off. Levi! His voice echoed through the cavernous space. Rain poured through holes in the roof. Water dripped steadily from broken rafters. Somewhere in the darkness, something skittered across stone. Then, he heard it. A gasp. Sharp and pained. Aston's magic flared around him in waves of white light as he ran deeper into the cathedral. He vaulted over broken pews, his boots splashing through puddles. His heart hammered so hard he thought his ribs might crack. The bond tugged him left toward the altar. He rounded a corner, and his entire world stopped. Levi knelt in the center of a ritual circle carved into the stone floor, intricate symbols that glowed sickly green in the darkness. His hands were chained behind his back with shadow iron, the kind of metal that drank magic and left nothing but emptiness. His shirt was torn open, hanging off one shoulder, revealing his chest, and the dark bruises spreading across his ribs like spilled ink. Blood ran down his temple from a cut above his left eye. His long black hair, usually tied back neatly, hung loose and wild around his face. But it was his eyes that broke Aston. Those silver eyes, usually bright with laughter, sharp with intelligence, soft with love, were filled with pure, liquid fear. And when they met Aston across the space between them, something in them shattered. Aston! His voice cracked on his name. No, you shouldn't. You can't be here. You need to leave. Right now. Please, Aston, please. Well. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, smooth as silk and cold as winter. Right on schedule. You really are predictable, Aston. A figure materialized from the shadows behind Levi, and Aston's blood turned to ice. Lord Kael Silvane looked exactly as he had 6 years ago, the last time Aston had seen him before barely escaping with his life. Tall and elegant, with platinum blonde hair that fell past his shoulders like liquid silver. His face was beautiful in the way poisonous things often are. Perfect bone structure, full lips, high cheekbones, but it was his eyes that made people uncomfortable. Violet. Not purple or blue violet, but true violet, like crushed amethysts, and they seemed to see straight through you into all the parts you wanted to keep hidden. He wore an immaculate black suit with silver embroidery along the collar. Not a speck of dust, not a wrinkle, like he had just stepped out of a palace instead of a ruined cathedral in a thunderstorm. And his hand rested possessively on Levi's bare shoulder. Aston's magic erupted outward. White flames erupted around him, scorching the stone floor. "Get your hands off him!" Such hostility. And here I thought we parted on, well, perhaps not friendly terms, but you're alive, aren't you? I could have killed you 6 years ago. I chose mercy instead. Mercy? Aston's voice shook with barely contained rage. You tried to bind me to the shadow realm. You wanted to use me as your personal weapon. You said I'd either serve you or die. I offered you power beyond imagination, the ability to reshape reality itself, to command shadows and light in equal measure, to become something more than human. And you spit in my face. Because you wanted to own me!
I wanted to elevate you. Kael's voice remained calm, pleasant even, which somehow made it worse. But you chose to run instead. Disappointing, but I respected your decision. I let you go. How generous, Aston snarled. His eyes locked on to Levi's. What is he doing here? Levi, what's going on? Levi's face twisted with anguish. Aston, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry? Aston took another step forward. The ritual circle flared brighter, and he stopped. One wrong move, and whatever spell was powering that circle might activate. Sorry for what? What did you do? He didn't tell you. Kael's eyebrows rose in mock surprise. Oh my, this is awkward. Your lover has been keeping secrets, Aston. Very significant secrets. Shut up, Levi hissed. Don't. He made a deal with me. Kael's voice cut through Levi's protest like a knife. 10 years ago, long before he met you. A soul pact, to be specific. The words hit Aston like a physical blow. His vision tunneled. What? Levi? His voice came out barely above a whisper. Tell me he's lying. Levi's eyes filled with tears. I can explain. Tell me he's lying. I can't, because he's not. Aston, I'm sorry. I should have told you. I wanted to tell you, but I was scared. A soul pact. Aston felt like he couldn't breathe. Soul pacts were the darkest form of magic in existence, forbidden in every kingdom, punishable by execution in most. They bound two people's souls together with chains that couldn't be broken except through death or transference. You made a soul pact with him? My sister was dying. Levi's words came out in a rush, desperate and pleading. Shadow sickness. Stage 4. The healers said she had maybe a week left. She was 12 years old, Aston. 12. And I was 18 and desperate and terrified, and Kael said he could save her. He said he had a cure that no one else could provide. In exchange for what? 7 years of service, Kael answered when Levi hesitated. 7 years of using his considerable talents to acquire certain items for my collection. Magical artifacts, rare books, information. Your lover is quite skilled at breaking and entering. Very light fingers, very clever mind. Aston stared at Levi, trying to reconcile this information with the man he thought he knew. The man that made him breakfast in bed on lazy Sunday mornings, who laughed at terrible jokes and cried during sad plays, who kissed him goodnight every evening and whispered, "I love you," like a prayer. 7 years, Aston said slowly. When did it end? The silence that followed was deafening. Levi? Aston's voice hardened. When did it end? 3 years ago, Levi whispered.
3 years ago. But soul pacts don't just end, Aston heard himself say. His voice sounded distant, like it was coming from underwater. They need to be renewed, or transferred to someone else, or... Understanding crashed over him like a wave. You ran. The betrayal in Aston's voice made Levi flinch. You were supposed to renew the pact, or find a replacement, and you ran? I tried to break it. Levi strained against his chains, his silver eyes wild with panic. I spent 3 years searching for a way out. I went to every scholar, every mage, every witch who might know how to sever a soul pact without dying. I found a ritual, an old one, dangerous but possible. I'd performed it. It should have worked. I thought I was free, but you weren't. The ritual worked, Kael interjected smoothly. Technically. It severed our active connection. But what dear Levi didn't realize, because he was too desperate to read the fine print, is that the original pact included a fail-safe clause. If he attempted to break our bond, it would simply go dormant, waiting, and I could reactivate it at any time. Aston's hands clenched into fists. And you waited 3 years? Why? Because I wanted to see what he'd do with his perceived freedom. Kael's smile was sharp as broken glass. Would he live quietly? Would he disappear completely? Or would he perhaps form attachments that could be leveraged? The temperature in the cathedral dropped 10 degrees. You used him as bait, Aston said flatly. I used him as an investment. And it paid off beautifully, because now I don't just have Levi. Kael's violet eyes locked onto Aston's. I have you. Every muscle in Aston's body went rigid. What? You're here, aren't you? You came running the moment you felt his distress through your bond. That's love, Aston. The kind of love that makes people do incredibly stupid things. Kael's hand moved from Levi's shoulder to his throat, not squeezing, just resting there like a promise. The kind of love I can use. Don't. Levi's voice was raw. Kael, please, the deal was with me, just me. Leave him out of this. The deal was for 7 years of service, which you provided, but then you stole 3 years from me by running. That's breach of contract, Levi. There are penalties for breach of contract. Then take it out on me. I'm the one who ran. Punish me, but leave Aston alone. Oh, I intend to collect from you. Kael's thumb brushed against Levi's pulse point. But I've realized something over the past 3 years. One talented thief is useful. But one talented thief and the most powerful light wielder in 3 kingdoms. His smile widened. That's an empire. Aston's magic flared dangerously. I will never serve you. No? Not even to save him? The ritual circle pulsed. Levi gasped in pain, his body going rigid. The chains around his wrist glowed brighter, drinking in his magic, his life force, everything that made him him. Stop it! Aston lunged forward. The ritual flared white-hot. An invisible barrier slammed into him, throwing him backward. He hit the ground hard, the air knocked from his lungs. The circle is keyed to your magic, Kael explained conversationally. The more you try to break through, the more it hurts him. Basic sympathetic magic. Rather elegant, I think. Aston pushed himself to his knees, breathing hard. Through the bond, that single remaining thread connecting him to Levi, he felt everything. The pain, the fear, the crushing guilt. And underneath it all, love so fierce it burned. "I'm sorry," Levi's thought whispered through the bond. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted this. Please forgive me." Aston looked up at Kael. "What do you want?" "A deal." Kael's expression was almost gentle. "A new soul pact. You serve me for 10 years, compensation for the 3 Levi stole, plus interest, and I release him completely. No tricks, no loopholes. He walks away free." "No!" Levi thrashed against his chains. "Aston, don't you dare!"
10 years of your service," Kael continued as if Levi hadn't spoken. 10 years of your power, your skills, your absolute loyalty. In exchange, Levi goes free. The pact is fulfilled. He never has to see me again. "You're lying," Aston said. "You'll twist the terms. You'll find a way to keep us both. I'll swear it on my true name." Kael's voice turned serious. "Binding magic. Unbreakable. If I violate the terms, my own power will consume me. I'll put it in writing if you'd like. Have a neutral party witness it. I'm offering you a legitimate deal, Aston." "Why?" Aston's eyes narrowed. "Why offer fair terms? You have us both trapped here. You could force us. Forced service is inefficient." Kael shrugged. "Willing service, even reluctant willing service, is far more effective. If you agree to this deal, knowing the terms, knowing you're saving him, you'll honor it. Your conscience won't let you do otherwise. You're predictable that way." He wasn't wrong. Aston knew himself well enough to know that if he agreed to this deal, he'd honor it, no matter how much he hated it, no matter how much it cost him. Because the alternative was watching Levi suffer. "And if I refuse?" Aston asked. "Then I activate the original Pact's penalty clause." Kael's pleasant expression didn't change. "Levi serves me for the 3 years he owes, plus 10 years as punishment for breach of contract. 13 years total. He'll be 43 when I'm done with him, if he survives." 13 years. Levi would be changed by then. Broken, maybe. The light would be gone from his eyes. The laugh would be erased from his voice. Aston couldn't let that happen. "How do I know you'll honor your word?" Aston asked. "You don't," Kael smiled. "But between me potentially lying and Levi definitely suffering, which risk are you willing to take?" Aston looked at Levi. Their eyes met across the space between them, and through the bond he felt everything Levi wanted to scream at him. "Don't do this. Don't sacrifice yourself. Let me pay for my own mistakes." But Aston had made his decision the moment he felt Levi's fear through the bond. "I want it in writing," Aston said. "A contract. Witnessed by neutral magic. Ironclad terms. No loopholes." Kael's eyes gleamed with triumph. "Done." "Aston, no!" Levi's voice broke. "Please don't do this. I'm not worth it. You're worth everything." Aston didn't look away from Kael. "Drop the contract." He pulled a rolled parchment from inside his jacket, like he'd been carrying it the whole time, just waiting for this moment. He spread it on the ground between them. The words glowed silver in the darkness, written in the old language that bound magic itself. Aston read it carefully. Every word, every clause, looking for tricks, for traps, for anything that would let Kael wiggle free. But it was fair, horrifyingly fair. Aston Ravencross will serve Kael Silvane faithfully for 10 years. He will use his magic and skills as directed. He will not attempt to escape or undermine Kael's interests.
In exchange, Levi Thornfield is released from all prior obligations. His soul pact is dissolved. He is free to leave and will not be pursued, harmed, or contacted by Kael Silvane for the duration of Aston's service or afterward. At the end of 10 years, Aston Ravencross will be released with no further obligations. This pact is binding upon both parties. Violation will result in the violator's magic consuming them from within. Witnessed by the old magic. Signed in blood. It was a cage, but it was a cage with a door that would open in 10 years. And Levi would be free. Do you accept the terms? Kael held out a silver knife. Aston took it. The blade was cold in his hand. I accept. Aston! Levi was sobbing now, fighting his chains so hard that blood ran down his wrists. Please, please don't do this. I love you. Do you hear me? I love you. Don't leave me. I love you too. Aston's voice was steady, even though his heart was shattering. That's why I have to do this. He pressed the blade against his palm and cut deep. Blood welled up, dark red in the candlelight. Repeat after me, Kael said. I, Aston Ravencross, do swear upon my blood and magic. I, Aston Ravencross, do swear upon my blood and magic to serve Lord Kael Silvane faithfully for 10 years. To serve Lord Kael Silvane faithfully for 10 years, in exchange for the complete and unconditional freedom of Levi Thornfield. In exchange for the complete and unconditional freedom of Levi Thornfield, bound by the old magic, unbreakable until the debt is paid. Bound by the old magic, unbreakable until the debt is paid. The moment the words left his mouth, magic exploded. It felt like being struck by lightning and drowned at the same time. Power poured into him, dark, ancient, crushing. It wrapped around his soul like chains made of shadows and starlight, squeezing, claiming, binding. Aston gasped. His knees buckled, the knife clattered to the ground. When the magic finally faded, a black mark had appeared on his right wrist, an intricate symbol that seemed to move under his skin like it was alive. The soul pact was sealed. Kael looked satisfied. Excellent! He gestured lazily and the chains around Levi's wrists shattered. The ritual circle went dark. Levi collapsed forward. Aston moved on pure instinct, crossing the space between them in 3 strides. He caught Levi before he hit the ground, pulling him against his chest. His hands clutched at his shirt, shaking violently. No, 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 what did you do? What did you do? I saved you. That's all that matters. How can you say that? You just sold yourself into slavery for 10 years because of my mistake. It wasn't a mistake. You saved your sister. And doomed you. No. Aston cupped Levi's face with both hands, his thumbs brushing away tears. You gave me a choice, and I chose you. I'll always choose you. Aston. He kissed him, desperate and fierce and full of everything he couldn't say out loud. Levi kissed back like he was drowning and Aston was air, his fingers digging into his shoulders hard enough to bruise. Through the bond, their emotions crashed together, love and grief and fear and fury, all tangled up until neither of them could tell whose feelings were whose. When they finally broke apart, both gasping for breath, Aston pressed their foreheads together. 10 years, he whispered. I'll serve my time, and then I'm coming home to you. What if you don't come back? Levi's voice cracked. What if something happens? What if he kills you? What if... I'll come back. I promise. You can't promise that. Watch me. Aston pulled him into another kiss. Softer this time. When he pulled back, he managed a small smile. I survived a war. I can survive this. That's not funny. It's a little funny. It's not... Levi's voice broke. He buried his face in Aston's neck, his whole body shaking with sobs.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is my fault, all of it. I should have told you about the pact. I should have been honest. Hey, Aston's hand slid into his hair, holding him close. I understand why you didn't tell me. You were scared. You thought it was over. I get it. You should hate me. I could never hate you. Aston's voice was fierce. Do you hear me, Levi? Never. They held each other on the cold cathedral floor, rain pouring through the broken roof above them, thunder rumbling in the distance. Finally, Kael's voice cut through the moment. How touching, but we really should be going. Aston reluctantly loosened his grip on Levi, though he didn't let go completely. Going where? My estate? Kael had produced a black umbrella from thin air and was examining his nails like this was all terribly boring. You'll need proper quarters, training, a wardrobe that doesn't look like you slept in it, the usual. And Levi? Levi goes free. That was the deal. Kael's eyes moved to Levi, who was still clinging to Aston. You should leave now, actually, before I change my mind. I'm not leaving him, Levi said flatly. The contract says, I don't care what the contract says. Levi pushed himself to his feet, swaying slightly. Aston stood with him, steadying him. The contract says you can't contact me or force me to serve you. It doesn't say I can't choose to stay. Kael's eyebrows rose. You want to stay, after everything. I want to be where Aston is. How romantic and utterly foolish. Do you have any idea what I'm going to ask of him over the next 10 years? The things he'll have to do? You'll watch him become something else, something darker. Is that really what you want? What I want is to not abandon the man I love. So either accept that I'm coming with you or I'll follow anyway. Your choice. Kael studied him for a long moment. Then surprisingly he laughed. I give you that. He waved his hand dismissively. Fine, come if you want, but you'll have no special treatment. You'll live in his quarters, eat what he eats, and stay out of my way. Understood? Understood. Aston looked at Levi. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Levi's hand found his, their fingers lacing together automatically. You didn't leave me. I'm not leaving you. That's how this works. Through the bond, Aston felt Levi's determination, solid as bedrock, immovable. There was no arguing with him when he got like this, and honestly, Aston was grateful. 10 years suddenly seemed less impossible if Levi would be there. Together, then, Aston said softly. Together? Levi squeezed his hand. Kael sighed. If you two are quite finished being sickeningly devoted to each other, we really should be going. The wards on this place will collapse in about 10 minutes, and I'd prefer not to be here when they do. He turned and walked toward the cathedral doors, his footsteps echoing on stone. Aston and Levi followed, hands still clasped. As they stepped out into the rain, Levi leaned close and whispered, We'll find a way out of this, I promise. I'll spend the next 10 years searching for a loophole if I have to. I know you will. Aston brought their joined hands up and kissed Levi's knuckles. We'll survive this. And then the rest of our lives. A black carriage waited for them outside, pulled by horses that looked like they were made of smoke and shadow. Kael climbed in first. Aston and Levi followed. As the carriage pulled away from the ruined cathedral, Levi rested his head on Aston's shoulder. Through the bond, Aston felt his exhaustion, his fear, his love. But he also felt something else. Determination. And the faintest spark of hope. Maybe they would find a way out. Maybe 10 years wouldn't destroy them. Or maybe... Oh, I almost forgot. Kael pulled something from his pocket. A second parchment. There's one more thing you should know about the contract, Aston. Aston's stomach dropped. What?
The pact binds you to serve me faithfully, which means you can't act against my interests, can't betray me, can't undermine me. Kael's smile was razor sharp, and my primary interest right now is expanding my power base, which means I'll need you to do some morally complicated things. Like what? Stealing? Occasionally killing? Maybe starting a war or two. Kael shrugged. Nothing you can't handle? Aston's blood ran cold. I won't kill innocent people. Then let's hope I only ask you to kill guilty ones. Kael leaned back in his seat, looking pleased with himself. The beauty of the pact is that you don't really have a choice. If I give you a direct order, you'll obey. The magic will make sure of it. Levi's hand tightened around Aston's. You bastard! You said it was a fair deal. It is fair. Aston gets to serve me and you go free. Those were the terms. I never said the service would be pleasant. Kael's violet eyes glittered in the darkness. Did you really think I'd waste 10 years of the most powerful light wielder in the kingdoms just to have him fetch my morning tea? Aston felt sick. What are you planning? Oh, so many things. Kael's smile widened. You see, the kingdoms have been at peace for too long. People have gotten comfortable, lazy. They've forgotten what real power looks like. He leaned forward. I'm going to remind them. You're planning a coup, Aston said flatly. I'm planning an empire, and you're going to help me build it. Kael sat back again, looking satisfied. We start tomorrow. Get some rest? You'll need it. The carriage rolled on through the rain-soaked streets. Inside, Aston and Levi sat in stunned silence, the weight of the next 10 years pressing down on them like a physical thing. Finally, Levi whispered, We'll find a way out. I swear we will. I know. We have to. Because the alternative, 10 years of being used as a weapon to build Kael's empire, 10 years of doing things that would stain his soul permanently, was unthinkable. But for now, all he could do was hold Levi close and try not to think about what morning would bring. Outside, the storm raged on. To be continued.
Appreciate you watching. Hit subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next story.